tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Stellaris Developer Diary 284 has dropped. We now have a whole host of information about one of the 3 new origins, Broken Shackles. This new origin is basically a pre-FTL origin with some extra gimmicks involved as well. We're going to be getting a look at some of the new buildings that are going to be coming along, one of the new districts, a whole bunch of new special features, and of course, the crazy setup from a species perspective of this new Empire origin. So stay tuned for all of that and more. Broken Shackles is one of the 3 new origins we're going to be getting with Stellaris First Contact. Now, from the very beginning of this project, the game director Eladrin really stressed the word utopian. First Contact is all about celebrating the discovery of strange new worlds and all the ways in which different cultures and different species interact with and support one another. The dev CG Inglis is going to be giving us a deep dive into what Broken Shackles is all about. Now, as he set out to design an origin for this DLC, this was the spirit and tone, that being utopian, that he was striving for. What is more utopian than a ragtag group of slaves who band together in a daring bid for freedom, thrown together by the insidious Minamar specialized industries? These former indentured assets seize control of their captor's ship and survive the chaotic crash landing on a habitable planet. And now we get to see the actual text, the actual instructions that come with this origin, what the effects are. So first off, there is a warning that it is a challenging origin. You begin with several important technologies yet to be researched and with an infrastructural disadvantage. Now, I believe from everything I can see here, this basically means we're going to be starting in a pre-FTL state, and the first technologies you will need to research are like in Stellaris 1.0, the very first iterations, when we had to research colony ships. I suspect we might also need to research FTL propulsion itself. Maybe we really do start as a pre-FTL civilization. Next, your chosen species, that is the species you create in the Empire designer screen, will be joined by a mixture of pre-FTL pops from all across the galaxy. A pre-FTL civilization of your chosen species will also spawn somewhere in the galaxy. Now this is quite interesting. They also make a note here that this origin will guarantee a number of pre-FTL civilizations throughout the galaxy, regardless of the pre-FTL civilization and pre-sapient species slider settings. So what basically this means, and we will see there's some more images in a moment that we will get to, but what this means is we'll have our primary pop, and then our starting planet will have a whole host of other pops on it. That's actually going to be really quite spicy and quite interesting, but you'll see why in a little bit. Now, a random pre-FTL civilization will be uplifted to have the payback origin. This means if you take Broken Shackles, there will be a payback origin empire out there in the galaxy too. So Broken Shackles is one side of a coin that has at least 2 sides, possibly 3 actually. I suppose it could be kind of a 3-sided coin if it's that rim around the outside. Anyway, so you're going to have payback spawning. Now we don't know that much about payback yet, except it's kind of been hinted that it is the Independence Day style origin. Also, an advanced empire with the Your Ladder to the Sky origin is spawned somewhere in the galaxy. Now that spawn can be completely random, I think it says that later on, and that will be, as far as I know, the Minamar specialized industries. You will also get +1 available envoys, an increased first contact discovery speed, and an increased infiltration speed. So this origin doesn't seem like it's massively powerful. In fact, it's a massive nerf, but from a flavor and storytelling perspective, I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I can't wait to do a playthrough with this origin. And if you're enjoying this video, please break the shackles of that like button. Now, the other part of this is that you will have to make do with using the remains of your hijacked ship as infrastructure at the start of the game. If we look on the right-hand side here at Freedom's Landing, the capital, you will see we don't have housing districts. Instead, we have what looks to be some sort of ruined ship district. Hopefully that provides some sort of job, but we don't get any mining, generator, or food districts. So this is definitely going to be quite an economic disadvantage. On top of that, we have this whole host of specialized buildings. Now, I suspect these buildings down here are in fact pre-FTL buildings that will give us pre-FTL jobs, because don't forget, we are starting in a mainly pre-FTL state in terms of the culture of this civilization, of this origin. So it would make sense to me that we basically get all of our jobs not through at the start these districts, which probably provide really good jobs in comparison to the rather terrible pre-FTL jobs I suspect we might be having. So this is definitely 100% a pre-FTL origin, at least in terms of the planetary flavor. Now, whilst this origin is challenging, players start out, of course, at a technological disadvantage and will need to work hard before they can progress very far into space. But you do have one major advantage, and that is a diverse population, meaning there is an ample opportunity to colonize new worlds. As you'll see from this screen, we have a whole host of species on our primary planet that have 1 or 2 pops only, but we are getting pops with basically every preference on the world. We've got arid, continental, aquatic, water, we've got alpine, we've got tundra, or arctic even, I believe that is, could be tundra, I can't remember the symbols actually, but as you can see, we can colonize any planet type here except for tomb worlds. But that means at the start of the game, we will be able to colonize absolutely everything, which is pretty wild. Now, the only major disadvantage to this will be that you won't be able to choose the traits of the additional species. Those look to be auto-generated. However, each of these pops means that there is a pre-FTL world out there with a whole bunch of them on it that you can then bring into your empire, and I suspect there might be some special bonuses. For instance, we might not get a stellar culture shock or anything like that. Interestingly, with this origin, with these species, because of the way that pop growth works, mostly, I believe, on your capital, you'll only have 1 or 2 species mainly competing for those pop growth slots, with the less habitable species usually not growing at all, though when they do grow, that will be a massive, massive hindrance. It may be worthwhile jumping down something of a less utopian route and choosing which species or forcing which species will grow, because that minus 10% pop growth speed will be a lot less than the whopping minus 40% a pop might have if they only have 20% habitability. And speaking of invasive species, if you've made it through this far and you're still listening to me with my terrible sounding voice today, I am very thankful, and I do have to apologize. I have something of a chest infection at the moment, which I'm trying to shake off. So again, apologies for the sound quality and the way I sound. I actually sound worse without all of the filtering done probably. But let's continue through and look at more stuff. So as your empire progresses, you will also have the opportunity to seek out each of your former homeworlds. Reaching these planets not only represents a triumphant homecoming, but may also propel your people to new heights. I mean, yeah, that line is pretty much a guarantee that we're going to be getting some special events. And here we have Homeworld Found. We don't get to see what the special bonuses are, unfortunately, or even most of the text here, but we do see Jushi from orbit. It appears so small. And so basically, we're going to be getting special events that pop up when we discover the pre-FTL civilizations that correspond to the pops in our empire, which could be a really good boost in the mid-game. And if you're enjoying this video and you'd like to do something to support this channel and get your hands on some fantastic discounts, you can get Stellaris and almost all of the DLC on sale right now on Humble Bundle. Discounts range from 75% for the base game down to 20% for some of the newer DLCs, but mostly they are at about 50% off. By following the link down in the description and going to the Humble Bundle page, you'll be not only supporting charity and getting your hands on a fantastic deal, but also supporting this channel. However, not everything is peaches and cream. Different species mean diverse points of view, and the demands of your various factions will need to be appeased if players hope to maximize the potential of their burgeoning empire. Of course, I think this means we're going to be getting a whole lot of ethical divergence amongst our pops, and we're going to be getting, of course, pops with all sorts of different traits, and don't forget, different traits promote different ethics, or at least increase those ethics attraction. For example, strong pops in your empire increase the attraction of the militarist ethic. That is something you are going to have to keep in mind. Now, there will be an interactive narrative as well with the Broken Shackles origin, and it represents apparently something of a new paradigm as far as Stellaris Origins goes, because it comes along with a second dual origin payback. We've had Imperial Thief, where we spawn not just an overlord but also some other vassals along with that, and that was very interesting. There was a lot of flavor there, there was a lot of broken mechanics we could exploit in the beginning. It's somewhat better now, but still very exploitable, but we've never had dual origins that crop up together. And apparently, Broken Shackles comprises one half of a full story, that other half being from the payback origin. But of course, it begs the question, what is a story without a good villain? Enter Minamar Specialized Industries, or MSI. The benevolent corporation, I did that in air quotes, not that you can see, prides itself on helping less developed societies reach their full potential. They kickstart development by loaning new technology to pre-FTL societies, loans provided at what they promise are very, very generous rates. What happens when the bill comes due, however, is another story. Indentured servitude is just one of MSI's tools of debt collection. Basically, they'll take your pops if you sign the contract and you are unable to pay them. That is not only pretty worrying, but also shows us why we have the Broken Shackles origin to begin with. Interestingly, it seems like they've abducted the pops here from pre-FTL worlds rather than uplifting them, which I do find a little confusing, because surely their whole deal is that they steal the pops. They might be somewhat rude and evil, mean, I suppose you could say, but they are following their legal contracts, I would imagine. They're not just going to turn up and steal pops without giving anything in return. Or at least I believe that's what they're going for with the whole quote-unquote benevolent corporation idea. And then we get to look at the Contact with MSI event. The moment we have long anticipated has arrived. We have made contact with the Minamar Specialized Industries. Enlightenment may not be free, but at MSI, it's always worth the cost. Then there are two very, very exciting things we should be looking at when it comes to Minamar Specialized Industries. So, we can see that they are slightly authoritarian and fanatic materialists. We can also see that they have the indentured servitude, and I believe that's public relations civics. What is most interesting here is that, yes, it looks like we're going to be getting a new portrait. That is the cool Minamar portrait that is, that's very reminiscent of, I want to say, the Digimon Angemon, almost, basically, or some of his Digivolutions, if you have any idea what on earth I'm talking about and you're from the 90s or earlier. So yeah, that is very much looking like something out of that fantastic TV show from when people were younger. But we can also see here that we have the Your Ladder to the Sky origin, which does include that special, possibly megastructure, possibly observation station, as part of the image. This is also going to be the advanced empire that we're getting spawned in through the origin Broken Shackles for certain, because this is Your Ladder to the Sky, which was mentioned earlier. Now, basically, this seems to only be an advanced empire spawn, so it won't necessarily be that far ahead of the player by the mid-game, and definitely not by the late game. The devs wanted to note here that they do wear helmets in the boardroom, which is quite a power play, actually. That's pretty funny. So, back in the earliest days of development, there was a discussion about how present the evil Slaver Empire would be. The devs decided on an advanced empire that can be stumbled across at any point in the game. Sometimes they will spawn near your home cluster, while at others they show up on the far side of the galaxy. This random placement will have radical effects on the playthrough, because I believe there's going to be a whole bunch of story, a whole bunch of stuff that starts happening when you make contact again with Minamar Specialized Industries. You are, from their point of view, lost property, and that could lead to all sorts of first contact snafus. Internally, the devs envisioned the antagonist of Broken Shackles and Payback as a generic authoritarian slaver empire, but as the origins took shape, their motives and nature changed. Minamar Specialized Industries styles itself as a benevolent corporation that provides technological enlightenment for a nominal fee. Some might say that they take advantage of the naivety of the species they propel into the stars, but business is business. In any case, it is likely that the rank and file at MSI believe the company line, even if the board of directors consider itself above such petty issues as morality. I mean, if we want to take an example from the real planet Earth, I would draw your attention to corporations that routinely break the law and decide that it makes fiscal sense to do so because the fines are less than the potential profits you might make by doing so. That kind of company might be what we're looking at here with MSI. It may not be the most pleasant universe to live in, is all I'm saying. Now, in regard to the erstwhile assets, the indentured servants who comprise the starting pops of the Broken Shackles origin, MSI claims not to hold any grudges. In fact, the devs intentionally shied away from styling MSI as an ultimate evil that can't be reasoned or dealt with. From the perspective of a Broken Shackles empire, Minamar Specialized Industries may indeed represent the worst instincts of sentient life, but to the rest of the galaxy, they're just another greedy megacorp. There isn't much Megacorp related content in Stellaris in general, and what does exist is locked behind the expansion of the same name. Playing with the evil corporation trope allowed the devs to give MSI a distinct personality and flavor. And for C.G. Inglis, who wrote this dev diary, he feels that they feel like the perfect foil for a utopian origin, and he cannot wait for the release. With the first origin look through completely finished here, we now have 2 more origins and an entire dev diary on stealth yet to come. That should put our release around the 21st of February on the Tuesday, because usually they do Tuesday releases. If not, possibly the very end of February the 28th, if they include another dev diary or decide to push it back somehow. That is my opinion on the release date. Of course, you may have your own opinion. Please let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear when you think we will finally be able to get our hands on Stellaris First Contact. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to hear more about Stellaris First Contact, more about the other origins and the new stealth cloak components we're going to be getting our hands on, possibly some Treaty of Alderaan stuff, then click the video on screen now.